Greetings and welcome to the RC Wallet Vacuum channel. Today's video is going to be the first in a series of videos I'm going to be doing on this next 5th scale build. Today I'm just going to cover some of the preliminary design concepts and some initial fabrication of it. This build is going to be a little off the beaten path, and what I got in the works here is a scale version of one of those, and that is a Tucker Sno Cat. I don't know what model that is, but it's an older version. So I'm going to be modeling it after that. It won't be exactly like that, but it's going to be similar in the concept. And as you can see outdoors, this is definitely 'tis the season for a SnoCat around here. So let me get the camera spun around here and we'll take a look at what's going on here on the bench. So these tracks here came from Rovan, and I've been experimenting with them the last year or so, and I've had mixed results. I think they have potential, but I also believe that in order to tap that potential, they really got to be put onto a custom chassis, and that's where we are right here. So this design is morphed quite a bit from the initial concept to where I'm at, to where I'm going to actually build it to. Initially, I had planned on putting a gas engine in here, and I was going to build the lower chassis plate. Here was going to be replaced with a skeletonized frame, a whole roll cage, just like a desert race truck. And I was mounting everything onto that frame. So what has changed in ideas here is I am going to stick to this bottom plate for now, due to mostly the time, because I want to get this thing out and start testing it in the snow. And if I build a skeletonized lower frame, it's going to take me quite a bit more time. So I'm going to base everything on a Losi 5T 2.0, the geometry and a lot of the parts. Now I decided to eliminate the engine for a couple of reasons. Being that this thing is designed to run in the snow, in the cold, those little engines don't really start that good. And then the other issue is going to be snow ingestion into both the clutch and the air cleaner. I suppose I come up with a way of working around that, but decided to go with electric instead. The other issue with the electric too is I can play around with the torque on it a lot more, where I don't know what kind of torque and what kind of inertial rotation forces these tracks can take. So if you're going to go with electric, it allows me to change, go to a lower voltage battery, tune back the speed control a little bit, and experiment with where I can get with the torque on this, and not having to deal with an engine that doesn't want to start and all the other crap. So I decided to go with the electric. And what I ended up picking for the electric is the Detroit Performance carries it. It's Ricky RC, I believe, the conversion kit. Pretty good kit. All the parts seem to fit well. You got to supply your own fasteners, and there really wasn't many fasteners in there. But it does allow for twin batteries. And the kit I got is designed for the Hobbywing Easy Run of the 5. It's a little bit more tuned down than the 4. I'm not really shooting for like crazy speeds. I'm going more for torque. And the same with the motor. I went with a 640, I believe, is kV. I'm looking more for torque and less high speed on that. So as far as some of the problems I've had with the tracks, if you watch previous videos, I've done some tests on these things and went over some of the problems. But the fronts are usually pretty good. The anti-roll system works pretty well. The rears have been more of a problem. The anti-roll system they supplied with them, it basically puts the front of the angle of attack on these things is crazy. It's pointing to the sky. And so I did make a different anti-roll over bracket, and that helped. It brought them down to a more normal angle of attack. But it's kind of a pain in the ass to install, and it's kind of, I don't know, I didn't really like it. So I'm going to be integrating a different type of anti-roll system into the rears. The fronts are going to probably stay the same as what it is, with the little shocks tied to the spindles. The other issue I've had with the rear tracks is these, I was running them on a Rovan 450 XLT, which is a Losi 5T 1.0 clone with some wider A-arms on it. And it's got quite a bit of toe-in on the rear end. And this following clip will show you what happens with that toe-in. Ah, she derailed again. So in the snow, they probably wouldn't be as much of a problem, but on the dry ground, as you can see, they just derailed them out how you got them. Because I mean, the vehicle's going in following one plane, and the rear tracks are following a different plane, and they're just bound to derail. So the front it has a neutral toe in. The rear's got quite a bit of toe in on them. Now you may be able to get hinge pin braces that give you a 0 degrees toe in on the rear. I'm just going to make a new hinge pin brace, and I'll do it that way. And that was one reason I originally wanted to have the lower frame built as a skeletonized. I was going to integrate the hinge pins right into the frame, but I decided to stick with this. I'll just use hinge pins and make my own hinge pin and eliminate, so I have 0 degrees of toe in on the front or the back. So before I finalize positions on a few things, I'm just going to go over a quick scheme of what's going on with this the subframe. This is I got the 2 separate side panels that'll be tied together eventually, but obviously this is the front. I got to cut this back. It'll be a hood, and the windshield is going to come up. The windshield brace come up here, back to there with another post. That'll be the main cab, and then there'll be another post come up here, and that'll be the crew cab, and then back here will be a cargo bed. And as far as how it mounts, back here on the cargo bed, it's going to go to the rear shock tower. Up here in the front, it'll go to the front shock tower, and I've eliminated the braces, chassis braces, from the stock Losi setup, and the frame, when it's tied together, will in turn mount to, the differentials will mount to the frame on the front and the back. And then as far as how it mounts to the chassis plate, I pulled those side plastic guards off and reusing those holes down through there. And I got these 5/8, I think they're 5/8 hex bars. I got them slotted so they slide over kind of like a fork type thing. Be bolted from the bottom, and then there'll be a piece of UHMW plate down there, or sheet down there, to seal that off and make it good and slippery. So the combination of being mounted to shock towers, the differentials, and the plate will tie everything together really well. And then, of course, this will be the sheet metal on the side. It'll go right up and around. And then this, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for the cargo bed. I have some kind of a piece of sheet metal down there, but I have some kind of a stake type bed on there. I'm not really sure yet. One of the things I'm hoping to do in the future is add a little hydraulic power pack on this thing and to put a snow blade on it. So you run it hydraulically. But that ain't happening this year. We'll just got to see how this works as is. But this would be pretty cool to have a snow blade on it, especially hydraulically operated. I may have mentioned this already, but right back here, I'm going to cut this back a little bit, and this is where the anti-rollover fixture is going to be for the rear tracks. I'm going to go cut some pieces and finalize some spacings and dimensions, and bring it back when I start welding. So as you can see, the 2 halves are welded together, well, tacked together anyhow. That's probably about as far as I'm going to go for today's video. Next, when I get started back up, I'm going to start putting the main cab and the extended cab in there, and then all the gusseting. And now that I got the thing together, I'm kind of changing my mind on how I'm going to, if I'm going to mount it to the shock tower and a differential on the front and back, or just one on either end. I got to decide on that one. The way it's looking, I could probably get away with just mounting either the differential or just the shock tower at either end. Got a lot of gusseting to do in there, and there's a lot of other work to do. I'm gonna try to run. I'm planning on running twin steering servos, so I got to build a mount for them. And I got in the back here, I got to build a box for the receiver and the receiver battery. So like I said, that'll conclude it for today's video. I don't want to bore everybody with long videos on this. So in the meantime, until I come back to the next build, thanks for watching.